Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 559 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob Taco Malda, and we're going to be talking about the 1986 movie, The Name of the Rose, and I am here today with the people that you would expect to be here. Chris DeBona.
Wait, The Name of the Rose?
The Name of the Rose. What did you watch?
What? I thought you meant the Bette Midler movie.
Robert Roseboom.
The Name of the Roseboom is what I watched.
and NATO Siddur.
I just spent 2 hours, 11 minutes contemplating the apocalypse. So
so this was Rob's choice.
It was.
Tell us about your relationship to this film.
It was just a sort of medieval murder mystery movie I saw as a kid. Thought was kind of cool. It was the movie that made me actually look up and learn what the difference between Franciscan and Benedictine monks were. So it gave me a little bit of history that way. And having watched it now again, I still kind of like it, but I had forgotten that it's really sort of two movies put together, right? Like there's a murder mystery and then there's a larger overriding story arc about
motorcycles coming into a small town in Texas.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow, you really watched a different movie than me. So one thing for me is that it was weird to watch a movie that really has no magic. I mean, unless you count God, but there's no everything.
The original magician.
But even and I use magic in a loose sense here because science fiction movies, time travel movies, all the movies that we watch, for the most part, there's a magical or at least a science fiction-y, unbelievable component. This is, I mean, it's a medieval story. There's not superpowers.
Well, my first note is about a superpower, so we'll have to discuss that.
All right. Well, I'm getting there.
I'm picturing the guy in Letterkenny, Glenn, and he's like, "Let me tell you about the original magician, Jesus Christ." So, all right.
This is you, Rob?
Yeah, so actually go a little bit further. Maybe back. I don't know. I guess I screwed up the time. This is where his boy there is looking for the bathroom, and I just noted that lots of people failed to put points in bathroom detection when they level up, but not William of Baskerville.
Yeah, well,
William of Baskerville knows not only where the bathroom is in any abbey, any castle, but when someone needs to use the bathroom.
I mean, that's if you haven't figured out the Baskerville reference by now, this guy is Sherlock Holmes.
Very subtle.
Yeah. He's just Sherlock Holmes. He's exactly Sherlock Holmes, but a 13th century monk. But yeah.
Right, but he's like this was the joke that I made. I said it's Law and Order Spanish Inquisition unit.
It is a lot.
Nobody ever expects this.
Totally.
Well, this is absolutely just Sherlock Holmes in this abbey, or whatever detective is your favorite in a series,
But with a lot of religion, witchcraft, and homophobia, and all of this stuff just sort of swirled in for fun.
Yeah, all the hits of Catholicism, really. Catholicism.
Yeah, there's self-flagellation.
Did any of you guys read the book?
Bad haircuts.
No.
Okay.
I read the book, but I read it after I had watched the movie.
Okay.
So
yeah, I had no idea this was a movie, but I read this book about 5 years ago. Yeah, so this was just one of those things where it was this nice period monk drama, and then all of a sudden you see him slaughtering a pig, and it's the first foreshadowing of there's a light side, dark side going on in the abbey, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but Star Wars was actually inspired by the work of early Franciscan monks.
Can I mute Chris now? Is that allowed?
I like that they collect the blood and they boil it up too.
Yeah.
One thing that this movie does really well is I think it gives you sort of a taste for what life really is like there. It is filthy. It is dirty. The people are starving constantly. I mean, the reason blood sausage exists is simply because you can't afford to waste literally any part of an animal.
Dude, I have a ton of blood sausage literally in my fridge right now, and I was meaning to make something with it today.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that, okay, there are a lot of things I liked. I liked that that the knowledge, the forbidden knowledge in the books was like the big thing that they had to keep hidden. It's like that's funny to me because like these are monks and they're supposed to be, you would hope that they would read the books,
They're preserving.
Right.
Yeah. Like, let's be clear on what the job is here.
I would say about the periodness of it, like if you were to ask middle school me what the Dark Ages and monasteries look like, I probably would have described or tried to describe something that looked and felt a lot like this. I don't know how historically accurate this actually is, because if there's anything that I've learned from listening to hardcore history or any of those things, it turns out that basically everything that I know about history is like 3% of it. But
this is pretty far past the Dark Ages. Like, this is the 1300s, but Catholicism is definitely on the boil. Like, there's a lot of
there's Protestants showing up, right? No, when did the 99 Theses go up? I mean,
well, this is the century in which the Franciscan order was created. So
I assume this is the 1400s or the 1300s, but
yeah,
it's the 1300s.
Okay.
Yeah, the Protestant Reformation wasn't for another 200 years, but yeah. But there was a lot of stuff going on in the church.
Just play this a second.
All right.
Do we see the man again? There we go.
Here he is.
And if you hadn't noticed, I wish he would have said, "Well, since you're not doing anything constructive, run upstairs and get me one of my stogies." Because that is Uncle Lewis from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
What are you talking about? We just watched that like a week ago.
He plays sort of a famous Franciscan monk who is constantly in danger of being assassinated because of his wild ideas.
About reading.
Yeah, so he's hanging out here, trying to lay low.
He's like, Tartars are people.
Something diabolical.
It's that actor.
He's got a voice, man.
No. You know who that is?
Yeah, it's Uncle Lewis.
Yep.
It's Uncle Lewis.
Yep.
Like I just said.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but he was also in another movie that I've seen.
He was in a lot of movies. He was like a standard go-to old guy. He's a that
guy.
Go
to 1323 and play for 5 seconds.
Feminine, something diabolical.
Oh, I guess I overshot a little bit. He says a line: "The devil is hurtling beautiful boys out of windows." There we go.
Yeah. The line that I have is kind of attached to this. It is, he had the eyes of a girl seeking intercourse with the devil. I love that line. Like, that's
so. For everyone sort of following along, what has happened here is that there's a bunch of murders, or there is a murder that's taken place, and all the monks say that it is the devil because they can't figure out how the guy was
like
killed.
You do.
And William of Baskerville is here, and he's trying to prove that it wasn't the devil; it was either murder or suicide.
So, in all fairness, on at least one occasion in the last several weeks, I've heard somebody on our Discord channel say they're gonna need an alibi, for a situation, and to ask whose house are they currently at. And it seems to me that these guys are just basically doing the same thing. They got each other's backs.
It's It's really bugging me. I'm going through his entire IMDb page trying to find out exactly what's bouncing around in my head from that guy. And it wasn't One Crazy Summer, even though I do have a special spot in my heart for that.
Oh,
Yeah, so you hear a few seconds of the castrato singing, and which is also odd because he is kind of one of the perverts in the monastery. So, you know, we'll see him again.
that's not a lot of castrato. Got 2 notes. Getting a lot of pooch.
Here we have Venerable Ron Perlman.
Yeah, can we just take a moment and say what a fantastic actor Ron Perlman is, really?
Right? Respect.
Ron never changes. He's amazing.
He is great in this, you know.
Yeah.
It's a hard line for an actor to walk because he's pretty seriously impaired, and he's one of those characters that I feel like if it reminds me of Leonardo DiCaprio, because didn't he play somebody?
I was just gonna say this and Leonardo DiCaprio and What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Grape, yeah.
He is so good in that. And I think Ron Perlman is just as good as this character. Plus he's hilarious. I love this guy.
What's interesting is he was typecast as a hunchback for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
You know,
right?
Oh,
everyone just thought he was that. You know.
All right, Nate. I think we had a note out of order here. I'll jump back for you. 2418, the mouse.
No, I think I messed up the time. I think that's 30.
All right.
34.
All right, then we're going to
definitely after this. It's in the library when the castrato is startled by a mouse and performs a very woman-like scream.
What time code do you say? 28 then? Or
I think it's 3418.
3418. All right, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
I trust my words did not affect
Yeah, I think I messed it up. But it's kind of a throwaway line, but there's a point here where the silence is broken by a very intense womanly scream, and it's the castrato. And I just thought, ha ha ha, like he's scared of a mouse.
Laughter is particular to man.
as a
Here. But go ahead and there we go.
Christ never laughed.
Can we be so sure?
There is nothing in the scriptures to say that he did.
And there's nothing in the scriptures to say that he did not.
Do you want more?
Yeah, they have this. I missed the line, but he says laughter is the devilish whim.
Yeah.
They get in this big argument about whether or not laughter as an emotion, comedy is appropriate at all. And you know, that guy being a hardcore Benedictine monk is like
Super
nope,
fun.
no laughter, everything is serious. There's no wonder. It makes me realize that my mom is actually a Benedictine monk.
I gotta tell you,
Explains so much.
that feels like a lot of my childhood. All right, we're jumping a big one here.
So
Yeah, here's the love scene.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
this is the love scene. Christian Slater is 16 probably when
Oh,
this
really?
got filmed.
So that's not him
Yeah.
then.
And at least according to Wikipedia, the director did not brief him on this scene. Like, so
Wow.
he wanted to get a more authentic
Right.
reaction. So that was the
So this
Yeah,
was probably
they-
filmed in '85, right? So
86. Yeah, they just told him that there was going to be a love scene. They didn't give him any specifics, and sent this lady in to go and take care of teenage Christian Slater.
Oh, that's either horrible or awesome. I don't know. Oh man, yeah, this scene is a little rough. I'm gonna probably skip past it using more aggressive skipping tools.
Our next
We're
code is
wise.
9 minutes. So
And we're demonetized. All right. Yeah.
there we are.
All right,
Yeah, it's
we're
funny,
safe now.
The pig slaughter didn't do it, but it was
Yeah.
the brunette.
Of course, I don't have the benefit of your experience, but I find it difficult to convince myself that
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is not the right
We must have a different version. We must be off by.
time code, but one of the older monks just has a line of "more bitter than death is woman," and I just thought, that's a great line. Ha ha.
Yeah, it turns out the women really didn't have a very good place in the 13th century
No.
or
Well,
the 14th century.
Considering the only female person in this film is named the girl and has no speaking lines, like
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you see some
To
female
be
members of her family
fair.
later.
that's true.
A chicken poops on one, so
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
that.
Oh dear God. He also had the line in there too, though. He's like, "I'm not as experienced with ladies as you are," based on the fact that, as far as I could tell, you were basically just raped by that girl a minute ago. Jesus, man.
Well, she saw him in cuffs and she really thought he was cute.
Oh, cuffs. Yeah. What was? Oh, I saw that in the theater, dude.
With Mila Jovovich. Yeah. You see Pump Up the Volume in the theater?
I did not, but I did see it.
Talk hard.
did you find
So that was Nate's.
Yeah, so this is my time code, and it's off a little bit. Go forward just a tad,
the book in Greek? No.
because it's where we find the castrato in the tank, and there's just a lot of shots of him underwater for what I assume must be a very challenging shooting environment. I'm like, okay, for this 4 minutes, you need to be underwater. Oh, here he is.
Yeah, he looks fine.
He does not look fine.
He does not look
He
fine.
can actually breathe a little bit through his skin like a frog, so it's not really
Also-
that bad.
So I have to say, this scene always sort of didn't jibe with what I knew about history and dead bodies. They weren't enthusiastic about autopsies. They would get rid of the bodies quick,
Yeah.
wouldn't they? I mean, so
And-
this didn't really
Plague.
roll for
And
me.
the fact that these are Benedictine monks who
Yeah.
really aren't looking to get more knowledge, but just to, solidify and write down the knowledge that already exists.
Yeah.
It is weird that they would do an autopsy.
Every time I saw this guy, for some reason, my brain thought that it was giant Peter Dinklage with a bad haircut. I don't know. He looks just enough like Peter Dinklage to me that he just got a bad haircut. I felt bad for him. He could do better.
Oh, well, we were children of the 80s. This hair existed
Yeah, oh, for
somewhere
sure.
in the punk scene.
So
Here it is. Just keep playing it.
Yes, we won't forget.
Watch. And he puts the lid on the barrel. He's like, things are getting too hot for him here, so it's time for him to move on. And the way he goes is smuggled out of the abbey inside a barrel.
It's the best way to go.
yeah, so this is where they go into catacombs, and like I expected them to at least have a level 2 to 4 encounter down here.
Yeah.
Like there should be some skeletons or a ghoul.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't go into a catacombs and just walk through it.
But it's just really all like search checks, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
Search and skill checks. That's all it is.
Yeah. Plus, this is kind of a crappy party, right? They're just a couple of monks. Very low level.
Yeah, Christian Slater can't be more. I mean, he's got to be first level, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
I
second,
mean-
since he's actually had the flesh of a woman now. That's
Ding!
experience, right?
And Williams got high lore skill, but that's about
sure.
it.
Yeah. He kind of screwed up. He's multi-classed monk bard, and it just hasn't been useful. All his skill points are the wrong stuff.
I guess that's what I'm saying. There's absolutely no party tank. No cannon.
They've got maybe bless. They haven't quite gotten to like thermaturgy or anything, so.
I did like, and I glanced through the Wikipedia on this, but they filmed a lot of this in like real old monks and monasteries and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. The exterior they actually constructed.
Go back just a little bit.
And then the interior was all shot in a German monastery.
Go to like 123 a second.
Damn, Ron Perlman.
Trying to get there. We go. Play that. This is where he's trying to do this sort of satanic ceremony. Not really satanic, but the Catholics would think it's satanic. And he wants her to spit on the cat for him, because that's part of it.
That's
right?
part of it.
And she won't. She spits on his face, and he says, "Thank you," and then wipes his face off and throws it on the cat. It's so funny. It's such a good scene.
Endeavor to learn whether these events are connected with the even graver mystery that afflicts your abbey.
He looks like who was the Mandarin?
Kingsley?
Kingsley. He looks like Kingsley kind of to me in this side profile.
A little bit, yeah.
Well,
so this is
Kingsley.
the point where William has pretty much proved that the devil isn't really killing people. There's a murderer about, but someone has called in the Inquisitor, and he shows up, and the Inquisitor is all about it being the devil. So there, you can see conflict on the horizon between those two.
Yep.
What else would it be?
Magic.
He kind of looks like Braytac to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's F. Murray Abraham. It's
Yeah.
Salieri.
Yeah.
All
right.
F. Murray Abraham. Yeah.
Yeah.
Braytac looks like F. Murray Abraham. So,
The court scenes, I don't know. They didn't work for me. They were boring. It's like, yeah, witches have seen witch trial shows before.
They're not quite as exciting as
Tenet.
they're looking for books.
As the exciting
Or
Tenet.
Wait, was there a witch trial in Tenet?
Oh yeah, but it was like right after the palindrome. You just didn't see that part.
So this is the part in the movie where he confesses that he's dealt with Inquisitor before, and he stood up for someone he knew was innocent, but he got in trouble and they tortured him, and he eventually recanted. So you can tell it's like one of the biggest mistakes he thinks he's made in his life.
I like that. Good bit of character detail. I struggled with him, but I think that I have the problem with Sean Connery that he's always Zardoz for me. I know he was in other stuff, but I mean he's always Zardoz.
Great distances in order to put an end to the dispute that has so gravely impaired the unity of our
2 more seconds and you get a frontal shot here. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I just thought,
Yep.
That is styling.
The Grand Negus himself.
That man.
Yeah, my problem with this was that from this moment on, all I could think every second of this movie is that no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. And from the moment that costume appears, it's all like I'm thinking about, what their principal tactics are, and surprise and fear and da 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 da. I love.
And a fanatical devotion to the Pope.
Fanatical devotion to the Pope. The outfits are horrible. I loved them.
4 things. Ridiculous hats.
I should have sampled that for that moment. That would have been funny. Oh wait, we don't. 4110.
Ron Perlman.
This is
shag my wick and squeeze the hungry peasants for tithes.
Yeah, I liked his speech here.
It is the greatest confession. One of the greatest confessions you ever hear in a movie. He just goes on about
my face.
what an ass he is. He's just stuffed his face, murdered rich people, and he doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
In the history of knowledge, merely a continuous and sublime recapitulation.
There it is. It's a little speech about how you shouldn't try to figure stuff out.
No. A
Because everything,
mysterious and sublime recapitulation.
everything that needs to have been figured out is written in the Bible.
That's right.
There you are.
Yeah. World's 7,000 years old. There was definitely a flood. Stop asking questions.
Stop asking questions.
But four only has 4 letters.
In Latin, that's all. Quattro. Remember the inscription above the mirror?
But we had to press above an item.
Is that you, Rob, or did I have the wrong code?
I think it was me, but again, my code.
Gotcha.
This is fine. I just there's some supreme villaining by F. Murray Abraham, which I just like. You just love to hate that guy. That guy is.
He can chew some scene.
Yep.
I had a question about this door. Why would you have a polished gold or bronze door or whatever? Like they're in the basement, right? Like, and like it's not even like much gold or much metal.
And if you go back about 10, 15 seconds, they make their find hidden doors check
Yep.
for the second time. So
clerics are not good at that, you know.
But it's the classic DM gambit. You always put a hidden room inside a hidden room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously cast detect secret doors.
Yeah.
That's how they're finding it. So,
But is that
there
a cleric
are a lot of
spell?
secret
I don't know if that's a cleric spell. That's more of a magic user. Right?
It is. Good call, Debona.
This is why clerics suck. I always hated playing clerics, especially early in the game. Like later on, you could be kind of cool because you could help everybody and do basic stuff. But like early in the game, just the worst. Being the Christian Slater level cleric, never fun. Except for I guess you get this girl, you know.
I love Ron Perlman, just like singing, whistling.
They've painted him with pitch.
Yeah.
They're about to set him on fire, and he's just, might as well sing.
Yep.
Kind of blissing
He's
out.
filled with the spirit of the
There's
Lord.
also a scene coming up where they light the fire and he's trying to blow it out, which is kind of funny.
So my problem at this point, though, is that I had spent so much time thinking about the Spanish Inquisition that all I can think about is always look on the bright side of life. Because
that movie would have been different if they burned people at the stake instead of crucifying them.
For sure.
Because you want to be able to hear the whistling above the crackling.
Over the crackles.
Yeah.
Crackle, crackle, crackle.
All right.
So this is when go back like 5-10 seconds. There. They've escaped and he's dropped the tomes. He saved some tomes. And I just thought, who knows how funny Garfield could have been if he had been able to save the 4 original tomes of Garfield, right? I mean, that comic strip could have been out of this world if we hadn't wasted like 1,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, so he walks past the and two of the stakes have been totally burned and one is unlit, indicating the woman survives. And
right, because at this point the peasants have revolted kind of.
Yeah.
They've driven the Inquisitor away. His wagon kind of gets stuck at a precarious angle and they tip it over, sending him to his death. And all those poor horses who did absolutely nothing wrong.
Yep.
Horses,
It
man.
wasn't easy being a horse in the Middle Ages.
I feel like there was kind of you have to have a sort of a happy ending and you have to have some semblance of a romance story here, because like the last words are about like how, you know, I never forgot her.
Yeah.
Like that's like, yeah, okay.
That very lengthy monologue for
Right
that one time in the bar or in that barn.
Yep.
Of whom I have never ceased to dream these many long years.
And this is the line that I actually remember of this movie, because I thought, you know, he has been through like a event where there's multiple murders.
Yeah.
He was in danger of being burned to the stake, or at least brought in front of the Pope and tortured. His mentor was almost killed. I mean, all kinds of life-changing events. And in the end, he's like, yeah, but I can't really remember what any of those people look like, except that chick I banged.
Yeah. That was the thing that happened that really stayed with me.
I think about her all the time.
I mean, if you're honest, how many individual details do you remember from, 20, 30 years ago,
Yeah. So anyway, this is the line that always stuck with me when I watched this movie, because I thought that was funny and probably true.
Yeah. You said the quiet part loud, buddy. I don't know, man. You need to cut 20 minutes out of it. It's kind of boring, but it looks really nice. The acting is great. It's solid. It ain't a page turner for me, I guess. It ain't no Tenet.
So roll with me on this thing.
All right.
You know how there's this big reveal at the end that it sort of reminded me of Contact. Because they're going through all of this, and it's this very cerebral ending, right? And so a lot of people didn't like the ending, right? Because they wanted something meaty or something, like, because the whole show is Ron Perlman and all these guys. But yeah, anyways, it's like they found out that the enemy was the journey all along, or some crap like that, Anyway,
the enemy was just that girl in the bar, and it's the only thing I remember from those 5 years.
The enemy was ourselves.
The enemy was ourselves and our sense of humor. It was laughter. Laughter is what they were keeping
Our
held back.
seeking of knowledge.
And you're like, couldn't you have, I don't know, you had the Crusades. You could have demonized some other religion. I don't know. Go full Catholic.
It was based on a book. It was fine.
Some other, it turns out there's a bunch of Hindus hiding in the castle.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like the Wraith hiding in the city in Stargate Atlantis. It's like, turns out there was a Wraith the whole time.
It goes full Temple of Doom. And,
Kalima.
Yeah.
Kalima.
Yeah, we just keep one of those in the basement, and then we let the Kalima guys fight the Spanish Inquisition, and it's good fun.
Yeah.
Is it my turn to pick the next movie?
It is.
Because I had another pick planned for today, but Nate revealed on yesterday's chat that he has never seen The Karate Kid. And since season 3 of Cobra Kai is coming out in 2 days, I would really like to watch The Karate Kid.
All right.
All right.
The Karate Kid.
Wax on, wax off, Rob Alton.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have
Thanks,
binged 2 full seasons of Cobra Kai in about 50 hours. And I'm not going to necessarily recommend that you follow in my footsteps, but I really want to rewatch this movie and see it original.
I would wholeheartedly endorse watching at least season 1.
For sure. But you were right about, we'll talk about this next week, I suppose, but you were right about after the big sort of Johnny meets his old buddies episode, the last 2 episodes of that season are like the worst 90210 crap. It's so bad.
Right.
But if that jives with everybody, that's what I want to do.
Sure.
All right.
This movie, man. Wow. It's always fun to me, Rob, to see the movies that shaped you relative to the movies that shaped me. I'm reading more into these things than needs to be read into them. But you grew up much darker than me.
Oh, that's racist.
What?
And untrue. I burn in the sun. like a
Yes.
vampire. But yes, I think you could tell that through many different mediums, not just movies.
Like, for example, my undying love for both The Little Mermaid and Tenet.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Really, they're the same movie if you think about it.
If you watch The Little Mermaid in palindrome form.
Yeah.
All right. Farewell, Rob Roseboom.
All right. See ya.
Farewell, Chris DeBono.
The Little Mermaid.
Farewell, Nate Ostendorp.
See you guys.
This has been episode 559 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. We'll see you maybe Friday if you're lucky.